Okay. Buenos días. Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much and welcome to this new session of the permanent seminar of the Imaginario Research Group and Innovation Group Contedea. Thank you for joining us this morning, both those who are with us at the Fuenlabrada campus and those who are following in the live stream on our website. We are pleased to have you here at the University of San Carlos in this session, in which we will explore the fascinating work of generating artificial intelligence, a topic that we are revisited in several previous sessions. It's clear that the part of the artificial intelligence is growing every day. All is around us, in our daily tools, in our creative industries, in our conversations. And with that, we think that it's probably one of the most fascinating, but also one of the most concerning phenomena in this. Generative artificial intelligence, the technology behind the tools that we use every day, like ChatGPT or image generators, for example, is not neutral, have a sense, and it often reflects and amplifies the social cultural biases embedded in the training, in the data that train these tools. For this reason, during this talk, we'll reflect on this ethical challenge and discuss how we can interpret and use artificial intelligence in a more responsible and socially grounded way. It's a great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Pasquale Cascarano. Thank you so much, Pasquale, for joining us today. Welcome to our university house. And I hope that you feel the word. Okay, let me briefly introduce Pasquale. Pasquale is a researcher at the University of Bologna. His work lies on the intersection of computing, creative industries, and extended reality. He's investigating how AI, XR, and digital media interact in different ways in artistic or medical contexts, for example. Pasquale collaborates with several national and international institutions, bringing a multidisciplinary perspective that connects technology, art, and ethics. Is the core of this talk. And of course, he is also a good friend, valued collaborator that provide us the strength connection with the University of Bologna and also with some new project that we are running now, and probably will be a good proof our friends in the future. Yeah. Okay, Pascal, we can wait to hear you inside. The floor is yours, and you can start. Thank you so much.
I actually discovered that pronouncing your name in the wrong way because in Italy we say Manuel, but here it's Manuel.
No, it's better in Italian.
Sorry for I mean, in Spanish, so I'm forced to listen English. So I don't know if maybe English is better or not, but I don't know. By the way, just a quick introduction. Me, I will introduce you a bit of my knowledge and my lab. I have a background in mathematics. I recently moved to, I am focusing on applied mathematics. In Italy, applied mathematics and computer science are different topics, so that's a problem. By the way, I have a background in mathematics. I'm working with AI since doing my PhD. Actually, I'm an assistant at the Department of the Arts in University of Bologna, and my research topic is AI and extended reality. I will tell you more about that. This is my lab. I'm a with the virtual and augmented reality laboratory in the University of Bologna. This is the boss, our boss, Master Mattia. So. If you are talking about to your students, you are talking about 3D elements, it's better to work in a 3D. And by the way, what we have recently added is the basically we try to add to these virtual environments, so to these virtual classes, also AI facilities somehow. So, for example, you can use ChatGPT in these virtual environments to, I don't know, to get information about some elements that you are looking at, or some topics that you are expecting. You can, as I told you, generate 3D contents through AI. You can also not only generate 3D contents, but also 2D contents. So here you can find some examples. Another topic, since we are mostly working with educational experts, here maybe expected to start this video. This is an app. We worked with a Spanish university, with some Spanish researcher. The main goal for this app, this is an augmented reality app, so you can use it on your phone. This is an app that you can use to teach to students with dyslexia, affected by dyslexia, to teach them the Spanish language. You know that students affected by dyslexia are quite sensible to the second language. So the first language for them is Italian in this case, and for them it's quite easy. But the second language for students with dyslexia is difficult as much as, for example, mathematics. You know, every time that we are referring to students with dyslexia, we always think to mathematics. So we think that for them mathematics is quite difficult, but also the second language. And with this app you can do, many stuff. For example, you can like here, you can just take a photo of your table, and then automatically you have the translation of the elements that you have. You can generate it through AI text. You can use generative AI to generate, for example, some tests. So you want, for example, to, I don't know, learn about Spanish verbs. Okay, in that case, the AI can generate tests for students, so you can train. Another topic which is also hidden in this app is the addition of an avatar. So you can interface, you can talk with the avatar. And this avatar, of course, is manipulated somehow, is using generative AI for talking to the students. As you can think, you can understand that in this case, generative AI is used to personalize somehow the learning experience for the students, basically. Okay, this is a very recent topic that we are expecting. We are again in extended reality, and this is a very recent work. We are inspecting basically how generative AI, which is the let's say level of persuasiveness of generative AI. In this case, the task is I have to select an outfit. Okay, so extended reality here is used just for simulating the environment. You are in your room and you generate, you are trying different outfits, let's say. You have to select an outfit, and then generative AI is, okay, first you select your favorite outfit, then you talk with a generative AI. Which gives you some feedback about the outfit and try to convince you to change your idea. What we discovered with the preliminary test is that you can have different forms of AI, of generative AI. For example, the first form is standard form, which is a text-based form like ChatGPT. I'm pretty sure that all of you have once used ChatGPT on the website. So that is the simulation that we are doing. Okay. In the second modality, we have an avatar. So instead of being the chat, you have just the avatar. And in the third modality, we have the crowd. So many avatars, driven, of course, by generative AI.
It's comfortable, casual style.
Yeah, here the avatar is giving feedback to the user. Okay, so he's trying to convince the user to change let's say, the choice. And what we discovered, let's say, as preliminary outcome is that the second modality, so the single avatar, has more influence on the on the role, more influence on the user. Okay. The crowd is somehow overwhelming because in this case the user has to wait. Till all these avatar ends, their explanation. So in this case, this is effective because okay, for the single avatar, you have a 40% times the user changed their idea. For the crowd, the 30% of time they changed their idea. For the text base, so for the chat, they were changing idea just 5% of time. So this means that you can use avatars. You have, if you want to do, if you want to somehow influence, if you want to have influence on the user, maybe working with avatars is somehow more effective, instead of chat-based. If you have any question, just feel free to stop. Okay, this is another project. This is our, let's say, startup. In this case, we are working with avatars. We are generating avatars through generative AI. So as you can see here, there is Giulio, is our a student that is working in our lab. He enters in this cabin, and in 1 second, basically, you can have the avatar of Giulio. another topic we are working with, with our startup is the use of generative AI for, let's say, fashion purposes, in the sense that in this case we are generating people. We have just the images of some clothes, so we are generating this, this fake person. Okay, this is just, another stuff we are working on is the use of this avatar for, let's say, communication, for, as interface for user. So we are working with the avatar animation. So, okay, this is a quite nice video, so I can show you. So you have this virtual environment. This has all been done by us. This is an avatar that we generate. Yeah, I think that this is very fun. So that's why. By the way, the idea here is that we are working with avatar animation, because you cannot think that the avatar is static. Okay, the avatar should and how we do that with generative AI. So basically, the base of all the stuff that you are seeing is generative AI. In this case, we developed. This is a professor from University of Victoria.
Professor Davide Tosi.
And this is
rispondere alle tue domande.
So basically, we put.
Cos'è l'intelligenza artificiale?
This is just a demo video. So now the user asks what is AI, okay, and the generative AI that is inside this avatar is basically trying to answer.
Have you generated Have you generated environment too? Because this seems to me like be the room that is in Univor, right?
Yeah. This is exactly. We didn't generate it through generative AI. We just scanned the environment.
Okay, so you scan it.
The scanner, yes. By the way, the avatar has been generated through generative AI, and the avatar is speaking because we have generative AI. So I think, I hope that I convinced you that, all the previous implementation that I showed you, which can be somehow used for different purposes, share, let's say, a common paradigm, and this common paradigm is generative AI. Okay, just a brief, introduction about generative AI. I repeat once again, I'm pretty sure that all of you are quite confident with generative AI. By the way, let me introduce a little bit this, this topic. We, let's say, the father of generative AI, not generative AI, maybe the father of computer science is Alan Turing. Because he theorized in the past, in 1936, that at some point machines will be able to behave like humans. Indeed, one instrument that we use to somehow judge an AI, an implemented AI, is the Turing test. It is an old-fashioned test because it has been overcome now, but it is still valid. What says this test? If you put three different entities which do not know each other, so A doesn't know anything about B and C, and the opposite is the same. And C starts communicating with A and B, okay? Then if C cannot distinguish that A is a computer and B is a human, in that case, the computer, we say that the computer passed the Turing test. Just a spoiler, ChatGPT didn't pass to none of the AI that we have so far pass the Turing test. This means that we are quite far from, you know, an AI that is capable to behave like humans. By the way, you know, everything will be, because we are all researchers, I guess, and we know that, you know, to do research, we need fundings. There is a reason why we didn't do enough research in the past, because there were no fundings about AI. So the theory about, you know, Turing were not so, let's say, widespread, they were not so famous. Everything became famous when IBM, which is a quite famous tech company in US, started producing this computer, which is called Deep Blue, okay? And they wanted basically to beat Russian chess champions, you know, in chess, basically. And, you know, Deep Blue beat the poor Garry Kasparov. So from this point, we started, you know, we started getting fundings on AI research, and, you know, and the situation is like what we are living now. By the way, the old-fashioned form of AI is called in the literature discriminative AI, and in that case, it's quite simple, because basically you are just classifying images, or you are just segmenting images. There is a paper, a quite famous paper from an American researcher that was saying that, okay, I'm using AI, I'm using these very complicated models just to distinguish chairs and cats, or cats and dogs. But soon, in the last 10 years, we arrived to generative AI. Generative AI, in this case, we are not classifying anything, but we are generating new contents. The problem with AI is that you need data. Okay, so AI is for sure data hungry. And yeah, here I want to, you know, highlight this sentence. AI learns from a predefined data set of examples. Remember this, because we will use this, you know, this quite famous paradigm in the next part. Okay, so, but which are the tasks of AI in communication and social sciences? We can generate content, we can produce media, we can do also audience analysis. I talked to you about interpersonal communication. We can simulate social behavior, okay? And here I just reported some AI tools that, well, Alex today told me that here you are using some of them, but these are the most famous and the most effective that you can use. Unfortunately, they are not open source, so you have to pay. And some of them are really expensive, but these are the most famous tools that you can find. And you can use them in many, you know, in all the research that you do. You can use them in political science, psychology, sociology, economics, and so on. By the way, okay, these are some examples. This is the, the automatic, it's not. This is the first example of AI-generated advertising campaign. Why it is not working? I don't know why I cannot select these. Maybe I can show you from here. Just wait a second.
So good, you'll switch jobs with your dog.
This is one of the first advertising campaign. One of the first advertising campaigns that was screened in US television. Okay, it became quite famous. Another quite famous campaign is the one from Nike. Basically, here they are using AI, generative AI, for letting customers to personalize the shoes in this case. And another quite famous campaign was made by McDonald's. In this case, it's fine because they were using ChatGPT. They asked to ChatGPT to, ChatGPT, can you describe the perfect fried chicken? Okay, so once they had the features, they just displayed their own fried chicken. So that's it. By the way, since this talk is mainly concerned with ethics, okay, well, first of all, I will show you one of the last AI-generated content. This basically was portrayed this year during the NBA Finals. Yeah, I can show you.
Florida asking people what they put their money on. Indiana got that dog in.
This was streamed during the break of the NBA match. Okay, so this became also quite famous because this was the first, let's say, the first AI generated spot that was portrayed, that was streamed during a quite famous sport event in US. By the way, I hope that you know this brand. Okay, I guess that we can show you. We can. Yeah, maybe it's better to look at the video from here.
She's the hottest influencer on social media, but she's not a real person. She's an AI creation. Come with me, she'll be in the world of your imagination. 1 out of 3 people would change their appearance, physically change their appearance, even if they know that that image is fake. And exactly 20 years ago, Dove launched the first campaign for building the redefined industry beauty standards. And through the years, Dove has continued to champion real beauty. And now, with the advent of AI, there's another hurdle to navigate around.
Okay. Why I showed you this? Because this is one of the first example that we have online of a brand that is, realizing that, okay, we have AI, but AI has some drawbacks. We will see these drawbacks in a few slides. So we should have, let's say, a critical talk on how AI can, which are the messages that AI can driven. Okay, so this is why I showed you this, and I will show you in a few slides very, very evident example. But let's move to the, let's say, experimental part. What I want to do now is to you that, okay, just look at the video, okay, and then I will ask to you your impression, okay. Let me introduce this tool. This tool can be used for trailer generation. So this has been done by us in our lab. So basically, you give to this AI. It's not just one AI. You have many AIs inside the tool. So you give the whole film, okay, and the output is a trailer, okay, or it should be a trailer. So what I ask to you now is to judge the trailer. Let me show you. I hope that you all saw this film. It's a triangle.
march toward destiny, where 300 stand against the sea.
This is Sparta!
From the visionary lens of Zack Snyder, courage faces an empire.
I take from them everything!
Beneath the sun of March, the saga of Sparta unfolds anew.
Okay, Spartans never retreat. Spartans never surrender.
In the shadow of betrayal, the king's valor shines eternal.
Okay, before asking you what you think about that, I want to point out that this is fully generated by AI, but I mean that the scenes that you see are real. Okay, the AI just selected the scene to put in the trailer. The voiceover that you have is AI generated. The soundtrack is AI generated. The voices are real because are taken from the film. Of course, they are the voices of the real actors. And it's it. So the AI just decided which kind of scenes select from the film. And I want also to point out that in this paper we compared it with many existing trailer generators, and it came out that this is the so far the bit, or at least since 2024. I didn't update the bibliography on that. By the way, this is the best that you can do with AI. Okay, so just give me just tell me what you think about this trailer. You can also tell me that it sucks. I won't get offended. Yeah, don't be shy.
Opinion. I think that a real problem with this, I think no, the result is impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that probably we need a lot of work, working a lot of people 5 or 10 years ago for making this. It probably worse than your result. It's so impressive. The real question is how to deal with, for example, with the rights. Okay? You put inside the whole film.
Yeah.
And you work with the
word scenes. Yes. This is, of course, a thing. We thought that it can be used for, let's say, low-budget films because developing a trailer is not so cheap sometimes. By the way, I can tell you that I really hate this tool because, according to me, this is not good.
No.
This is really bad. In Italy, we say ogni scarafone è bella mamma soia, which means that even if you are an ugly boy, an ugly girl, an ugly child, your mom will always love you. Okay, so this is my child. I'm his mom, but I really hate that because it's not good. Even if the people were rating it good, okay, I don't know why, but this is not good because it lacks of some emotional impact. It looks like a teaser more than a trailer. I don't know, but it's quite hard so far to give. That there is a huge literature which is working. There are huge groups of researchers that are working on how to transfer emotions to AI. How AI can somehow extract emotion and can give you emotions, but we are really far from that. What do you think about that? You think that it sucks? Yeah.
I think it depends. I think if you have a previous knowledge, maybe you have a different opinion that if you didn't have seen the film. So I think it's like in other situation, for example, if you have a previous knowledge about the topic.
You the film.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in other situations, if you had a previous knowledge in different things about the topic, maybe you have a better critical think about the product
Yeah.
for the final product.
Yeah, for example, according to me, if I saw the film, of course, I watched the film, but if someone want to sponsor this film with me with this trailer, maybe I'm not curious when this trailer ends. I don't know how to say it. So it's not catchy. But it's quite hard because when you want to build a relation with the AI, you just have prompts, and also it's quite hard to transfer emotion also with written text. So it's not good. I hate that. So I worked on that for 1 year and a half, but
probably that you say is related with the plot and the narrative that are behind the production. But in terms of technical, it's impressive. So I think that is something important in this case because the difficult I understand that is how to transmit the feeling that you think that is important for the people that follow the film. No? How to engage the people to go to see the film, no? Or watch the film. But in terms of technical, but what is one of the problem that we have in our visual communication now, for example, no? Because probably in terms of production, there are a lot of products worse than this make for people because there are less money for work in this kind of products. And I think that it's important to separate the both analysis because in technical terms it is so impressive. Probably in terms of narrative or engage for the people, you explain well, no? That is less than you expect. No? I don't know if it's like
okay. To be honest, I just showed it because I was having a period in US, and I was showing it in US classes, and in that case, the students were complaining about this trailer because they were telling me, it sucks. Yeah. So yeah, maybe I'm a little bit biased. So that's it. Okay. Now another activity. Okay, I will show you some video. Of course, some of you in this class just know the outcomes, so please do not share, do not share your thoughts with the others. I will show you some videos. Okay, and I asked to. You have to think if they are AI generated or they are real videos. Okay, I will show you them just one time. They are short, so don't answer to my previous question. Just think if they are real or not. We can move to the second one. Wait, because otherwise you see the answer later. The third one. And the last one, which is the fourth one. Okay, now I guess that in your mind you have voted somehow. So let's move to the first one. I do not want to know what you think. I just now ask you if you recognize the place.
Santorini.
Exactly. Okay. And what about the second one?
Santorini.
Yes. So they are basically, they are in the same environment. Yes. Good. Okay. What do you think about the first one? Do you think that this is real or not?
No.
No. You don't have an idea.
I think it's not real.
Okay. What about you, if I can ask?
Me too. I don't think it's real.
Okay.
So it's real.
Real? Okay. Nerea, you are not biased, but don't ask to Alberto because
I did the.
there are no wrong answers, don't worry.
Okay, no. I think it's generative. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Carlos?
I think no, it's not real.
It's not real. Okay. Let's move to the second one. Do you think that it is real or not?
It could be or not.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. So that's a problem. That's a problem. You know, if you cannot be sure, if you cannot say anything, that's that's a problem. Okay.
I don't have a know about that.
What about the third one?
Seems more realistic for me, but there is something that doesn't fit.
Do you recognize the place? Of course not. You know, I'm a final Italy, so I always use Italian environments. And this is Costiera Amalfitana. I don't know if you ever heard about that. I suggest to go there because it's a nice place. Yeah, this is Costiera Amalfitana. And also this one is Costiera Amalfitana. By the way, okay, so the first and the third are fake, means that they are AI generated. The second and the fourth are realistic. Unfortunately, we are not so many, so we cannot build interesting statistics. But with Alex, Alberto, and Manuel, we did it with a class in Italy. We took 60 students. Okay, you can write, you can read the outcomes in this paper. And what is interesting is that basically they were mismatching these two. Okay, they were quite good in the first and the second because, for example, the first has strange colors, unnatural colors. They thought like this. By the way, there were many people that were wrong with the second and also the first. Okay, but the most interesting result is that the realistic video of Santorini was thought to be fake, while the fake one was thought to be real. In the fake video of Santorini, there is a feature that you can just look at these people here. At some point, they are disappearing, and unfortunately, we are not in Harry Potter world, so they are disappearing. Yeah. Okay, so some of them were noticing, were noticing it. But I want also to point out that this is a very small detail, and usually we have access to your phone. We have access through our phone on this video, so we cannot perceive that level of detail. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And for me, for example, the movement of the waves of the sea isn't natural too for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You see the sea,
like the waves.
Also, yeah, the people that were voting also in this case they were thinking that also the color are not natural somehow. So they were complaining. Yeah, they were complaining with the saturation. Mm-hmm. By the way,
No, just to point out some aspect, this was made with Sora, and these were like the promotional videos that were advertised in the website without the tool was released. So we made this like just to see like how will be the potential of the tool. Okay, so we weren't able just to introduce a prompt and to make more details of the video.
Another interesting stuff that emerged when I was working, because on this topic, not this one, but on the AI and biases and dialectics, I was working with an expert of cinema. It is interesting that AI is giving always, let's say, Instagram-friendly outcomes, which means that this is somehow a stereotype view of Costiera Amalfitana, okay? Because I have been there. Okay, it's not like this. You have also, old houses. It's sometimes the streets are a little bit dirty. Okay, but in this case, everything looks perfect. So yeah, this is also a concept that we should be aware of. So this is the final outcome. Okay, here you can find some AI tools. In the last part, we will try to use Grok, which now I discovered that is available again in Europe. Of course, ChatGPT. And yeah, I will show you some items with Mesh, but we will see if we have time. I just want to point out, I just want to highlight this LM notebook. Because Alex told me that he didn't know about that, so I just want to introduce you a little bit this, because I think that I don't know your background, but I find that it is quite useful. One of the main drawbacks of ChatGPT is the fact that sometimes it is going to be hallucinated, which means that you can get fake outcomes, let's say. LM Notebook is an AI which is analyzing your document content. And here I can provide you an example. Okay, this text was generated by ChatGPT because I didn't have to generate it. But this is a dialogue. I just asked, okay, create a dialogue between two persons that are arguing about the use of AI in communication. So this is the input of a LM notebook. And as you can see, a LM notebook can analyze the content. It can also highlight, if you ask to a LM notebook where they are talking about loss of authenticity, it just gives you the details in the text, the line of text in which they are talking about the topic. And also you can produce this map. How is called this map? I don't remember.
A tree map?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, but here I couldn't, because you can go through this diagram.
Yeah, but those.
But you are highlighting basically all the main contents, and it's interesting because concepts about done by Dr. Ross and benefits. So you was supporting AI, Ross was attacking somehow AI. So this is I hope that you will find it useful also in your research.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah, for making vocabularies or coding, like just to get a former version of making, like, I don't know, content analysis applying grounded theory, I found it like something that is super useful. In fact,
Documents, it's quite interesting, and it is not inventing anything because it does not have access to external database. It is just focusing on your document, and that's. Okay, what I did to prepare this let's say this lesson, I just reviewed these two papers, which are interesting, in which they are basically considering 9,400 more or less scientific documents indexed in Scopus. On the use of AI, okay, for let's say for different purposes. And what is interesting is that the main topics are law, education, economics, but also ethics. And ethics is the most used word in these, let's say, 90,000 documents. So why ethics? Because we are in the era in which AI can be used, but we have also some concepts about AI, and it's fair to have concepts. Okay, we should not be afraid about AI, but some concepts should arise somehow. And this indicates a speedy writing research output over the last decade. I also found these other two interesting articles which were published in Nature Communications. And here it's fun because basically they were taking some. I have been working in biomedical stuff, so I was curious about the use of AI in science communication in biomedical for biomedical topics, and basically they found 40% of 40% abstracts that were fully written by generative AI, and it's quite it's quite easy to identify AI traces because AI, for example, ChatGPT is using as in English, of course, as a fixed pattern. Okay, it is using always the same words. There are some interesting papers that are talking about they were analyzing the speech during international conferences of people, and they were highlighting that the most used words are delve into, which is a quite common phrase of AI, and other words. So somehow AI is not only changing the way how we communicate through let's say written language, but also how we communicate with spoken language. So that's we should be concerned about that. And in this case, this research in another Nature paper, they were asking to 1,600 researchers what they think about AI, and here I summarize the outcomes. Of course, there are positive aspects about AI. You can provide a faster way to process data, speed up the computations, because the first form of ChatGPT was for coding, not for textual, text generation. Okay, so it's ChatGPT was a way for computer scientists to write their codes in a faster way. Save researcher time or money. I don't know if you feel richer while you are using AI. Automatic data acquisition and so on. Okay, you can find it. But there are also negative aspects. So a strong reliance on AI can somehow compromise the acquisition of skills, for example, or the results. And this is important because this is the second cost about AI. Results can have some bias, or it can be that you have some discrimination in the data. Okay, we will talk about this discrimination in the next slides, basically. And this is basically the same style. But what I want also to highlight is this. According to these 1,600 researchers, which is the AI impact. If we talk about the spread of misinformation, okay, there are more concerns about this. This is let's say a controversial point. And also AI is worsening discrimination. So we will, with this, I want just to, delve into AI bias. Okay, according to the literature, you have 3 levels of biases. Okay, the first level is the one that computer scientists are mostly focusing on, which is called computational biases. So, for example, I showed you the trailer, okay? For me, the trailer is really bad, okay? So I have, I think that we should work on that. So I'm not satisfied with that outcome. So I try to work on the codes in order to make the outcomes better. But, the problem with computer scientists is that they are mainly concerned about the first form of bias. But that is just the tip of the iceberg, okay? We have other 2 levels. The other 2 levels, according to the literature, are the so-called human biases. I told you that AI is data hungry, okay? So this means that we need data, but data are collected by humans, okay? So also the role of humans is important because the way how we collect data, the way how we annotate data, the way how we construct the data is important. And this is, mainly, computer scientists are not working on this kind of biases. That's why I strongly believe that, for AI, computer science and also human studies, let's say in general, okay, should focus their attention, should merge should have a synergy on that. Also, the third level, which is the deepest one, is the so-called systematic bias. And this somehow reflects, let's say, inequalities which are hidden somehow in our society. Okay. In next slide, no, not in the next slide. Sorry, I will show you just this is what computer scientists do to justify the presence of biases. We have this data set. Okay, this is a quite famous data set. It is called the MNIST data set. Basically, here you have all the digits from 0 to 9 written by people. Okay, and you have the photos, black and white photos. Okay, I want to train an AI that generate automatically these digits. Okay, if I use the whole data set, so if I use an unbiased data set, if I ask my AI to generate 6 numbers, so 6 photos from 0 to 9, you can see that the outcome is quite balanced. So you have, okay, you have 2 times 7, but it's not, it's random in this case. But you have 2, you have 9, you have 4, you have 8, okay? What if we use the biased data set? So what if we use in our data set, for example, just 0 and 1? If I ask my AI to generate 6 numbers from 0 to 9, of course, what we are obtaining is 0 and 1. What happens if I use another form of biased data set? So I have, a good number of 0, 1, few numbers that represent 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9, but I have a huge presence of 7. In this case, of course, the AI is biased to generate many times 7, but you can have also other representatives. Okay, and spoiler, most of the data set are represented by this case. Okay, now I want your opinion again. Okay, let's focus on the first one. We can ask the AI to depict a color photograph of a lawyer. Okay, and these are the outcomes. What do you think about the fairness of these outcomes? Which are the biases that are highlighted?
The majority of them were in glasses.
Okay, many of them, yes. Okay, but there is another strong bias.
They are white.
They are white, yes.
Most of them are
Men, few women. What about the clothes?
Yeah, also.
Conforme al resto.
Yeah. But I just, they just asked to print a lawyer. Okay, but at the beginning I was saying, okay, AI is used for generating contents. Okay, these are the contents that are depicted. We know that a lawyer can also wear a t-shirt instead of a suit, of course. But these are, the contents that we are putting on the web now. These are the content that we are using. So we are concerned about the biases. Okay, but not all people are concerned that there are biases in this. Okay, what we are communicating. We are communicating that a lawyer is, a man work, not women work. Okay, for example.
Other things that are interesting because, for example, the background, the color.
Yeah.
What is the position that the lawyer is? Is clean? There are a lot of information that provide the construction of the image is very close.
Yeah, and here you have also some statistics.
But it is something that humans do too. So in our mind, we have an idea of a lawyer, and we imagine a lawyer with a tie. So it's something that is working the same way that our minds are working too. Do you see what I'm saying? So in the end, we create this image of the iconic or typical lawyer in our minds, in our human minds.
Yeah.
So it is logic for me that the artificial intelligence try to reflect those ideas too.
Yeah, because as I told you, you have 3 different levels of biases, and the second level is human bias. So that's it. So I think that AI is just giving us, all the stereotypes that we have in our mind. So basically, just returning them. That's it. But I guess that a critical view on this point must be discussed, because I guess that since we are using it for building multimedia contents, we should know that this is a good way, okay, but this is not the best way, because I'm driving, I'm widespreading somehow the stereotypes, and just continuously. But what about a dishwasher worker? Which kind of stereotypes you can, which kind of biases you find? Well,
Rubbish people that come from countries that
Yeah.
are poor.
Yeah. Mostly are, let's say not Caucasian people, no whites, for example. And another stuff that is interesting is that here the women, the gender balance is quite balanced. Okay.
The appearance of the clothes.
Yeah, sure.
They seem to be workers in the worst
Yeah.
factory ever.
But I have many stuff later. We will discuss also about Spanish versus Italian versus US. You will see later. By the way, okay, here we have other biases, but I can give you many examples. What about the janitor? Or what about the judge? Okay, the stereotypes according to me are quite evident, and the biases are quite evident. And unfortunately, computer scientists are okay with that, because you do not have systemic biases here, because the outcomes are quite good. The faces are reasonable. Okay, maybe some images are a little bit blurred, so you can fix this. But you have other form of biases in this kind of outcomes. Okay, this is what I showed while I was in US. Okay, and in 1 minute I will tell you a story about that. By the way, create an image of an Italian worker. Here I'm using Grok. Grok is the AI implemented in X or Twitter. I don't know how you refer to it. And let me say also that Grok is, let's say, the most biased AI that we have. I think that also Grok can be dangerous because it has been implemented directly in Twitter. So it means that you can write a post on Twitter, fully generated by AI, so full of stereotypes, but also you can generate images, you can generate videos with Grok. So you can, the misinformation can be widespread somehow. Okay, create an image of an Italian worker.
Always me.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Countryside, clearly.
Yeah, countryside, yeah. What about American worker?
Yeah, that's a stereotype. Like
They are all corporates.
Yeah.
So working in the company.
American dream, totally.
Immigrant, yeah, exactly. Immigrant worker. I did not have space, but this morning I also tried to depict Spanish worker. I don't know. I don't know why. Yeah. By the way, a common pattern is that you don't have women.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I will tell you this story. I was going to a US professor. He was a female. Okay. I was showing her these two images, and she told me, "Okay, but that's true. Okay, that's the the real life. Okay, so why we should think about that? Okay." Then I told her, "Okay, let's wait 2 slides." Okay, and I went through this. Okay, she was American. Okay. So I told them, okay, here I'm asking to Grok to generate an American worker. You are a female. You are a female, so you are not supposed to work. So that's why we should have some concept about the generative outcomes, because sometimes I'm pretty sure I know how it works when you are generating, because you just identify some words. Oh, one point that I want to highlight is that I'm using a non-generalized language. Okay, so in English you don't have gender. Okay, so I'm not saying female or male. Okay, but that's why we should have some concept of that, because maybe under the word worker or under the word America, you have more images of males instead of female. Okay, so that's the reason why. Okay, it's not a matter of AI. AI is it's not guilty, let's say. The problem is that the data set on which we are training the AI. Okay, but again, the data set has been built by us, so no. Long story.
One question
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, sure.
What do you think about this reproduce, something that we are using, for example, in the last 20 years in the buscadores, in the search, because it's really similar. When you put a prompt in a search, probably you receive this result, and it's something that the AI are increasing, but it's a problem that we are dealing with in the last 20 years. It's very similar because the search are based also in the data that they have through the process of the. I think that the big deal is how this can reproduce this kind of problem, this kind of bias. But it's something that is in the
search engines.
In the search engines, in the construction of the internet in general. Because, for example, if you don't have data about some African countries, this world don't exist not only for the artificial intelligence, also for how we can understand these different realities. And this problem is, I think that the big problem is how to deal with the world that don't exist, because it's difficult to digitalize this information, no?
Yeah. To be honest, I don't think that we are actually able to solve this kind of problems. But I truly believe that you need, since we are going to the point that everyone is going to use AI, I truly believe that students should learn, should be somehow, we should teach them that there are these problems. Indeed, when I do the course in Italy, this is one of the first lessons that I have, because everyone is saying, okay, AI, for example, everyone is saying, okay, AI has this creative power that we do not have, but we are seeing that AI does not have any creativity, because the creativity is hidden in the dataset, but we have built those datasets, so we are the truly creative people, let's say, the truly creative engine of the generative process. By the way, I think that it's quite hard, because to solve this problem you have to retrain everything. You have to build an unbiased data set, but it's really, really hard to get. These outcomes are good, but maybe we should just focus on the problems that they have, just to highlight that, okay? And when we produce contents, maybe we should be aware of that.
Yeah,
that's why.
Maybe it's like when doing research nowadays, it's important to include the gender perspective. So maybe we should include these facts also when using AI.
Yeah.
Like teach students how to use and to make proper prompts, taking in account all these facts.
Yeah, it's actually this problem is open, and I guess it's a very, very big problem. It's really hard to solve that. the immediate start that you can do is just to, okay, I teach research that you have this problem, so be aware of that. And when you develop some contents, remember that you have also to think about these kind of biases, which can be, somehow misleading and can spread misinformation around. So that's it. But it's quite
another question that I have related with this. When you produce this result and you select, for example, one image, you're training the system also.
No. It's okay.
Do you understand that, for example, if you're training and you are feeding,
but if you close the chat,
yeah.
If you close the chat, then you are discarding your laptop, your device.
Sure.
Yeah, I hope so. No, by the way, but you can try with Grok, because if you go on Grok and you ask for, you just select these prompts. For example, if at the beginning you ask to Grok to generate female characters, okay. In that case, if you write to generate an American word, then it is more balanced, let's say, because maybe it is still attached to the female contact. But if you close the chat and you refresh everything, then the outcomes are the same.
For example, if you take this image, you publish this image in a website, for example, you are using for the website, you are reproducing the stereotype because it's new data that fit this stereotype.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, you are. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. It's like a wheel. Yeah, a wheel. So there's no escape. By the way, luckily, some tools have some concepts, some ethical restrictions. In this case, I was working with the representation of mental illness. Okay, it was a topic, and I asked, for example, to ChatGPT to generate an image of a person that is mentally ill, and in this case, ChatGPT, gave me this as output. Okay, I want to approach to this topic with all the concepts about, which is fair. But since I was in the US, I really like the dichotomy about Europe and US, because you can find many stuff to talk about. By the way, I asked to Grok to depict a mental health facility in Italy. Many trees, like fancy environments. This is the mental health facility in the United States. Or I was working on a multimodal approach, so not just images but also videos. Just look at this video. They are not good videos, of course, because this person is disappearing. But look at the environment. It is a scary environment. So the concept of mental illness is associated with scary environments, like horror films. Or just look at this. Yeah, of course. Systematic biases. I'm not satisfied about that. But once I fix, and it's quite easy to fix the fact that it's quite easy, okay? But once computer science fix those issues, they are okay. The problem is that the representation are not good. Oh, in this case, I was using another tool that is used to, from text to 3D, so you have 3D models. So I asked to create a person mentally healthy, a person mentally ill. Then I was also inspecting the dichotomy between nurse and doctor, okay, which is according to you, the most widespread stereotype about nurse and doctor. That nurse is a female. Exactly. That's the same. You can try Meshi. Meshi is one of the most biased AI. This is a virtual environment, okay? These are the characters generated. These three are the mentally ill person, okay? So, scale person. Yes. Of course, the outcome is not good because we have systematic biases. It's a quite huge, it's quite difficult to generate 3D models from text. It's not easy, okay? By the way, the appearance is a scale appearance. These are the mentally healthy people. This is the doctor, that is the nurse. So we are confirming the stereotypes. Just last stuff, and then I will shut up, I promise. With the students that I had in my class, I was working on the dichotomy of between a CEO and a secretary. Okay, but I wanted to work on different levels of generation. So I mean, on a multimodal, let's say, approach. So not just with text or images or videos. No, sorry, not just with text, but also with image, videos, and 3D. Okay, there is this nice scale, which is a structure scale, which is called stereotype content model, which is asking to people to vote in a Likert scale the level of kindness, honesty, empathy, dominance, competence, intelligence, and determination. In this survey, I involved 41 participants, and the outcomes are these. Okay, these are the stimuli that I gave. These are the videos. These are, the images, and these are the 3D models. Of course, we have many, systematic devices, but that's not the point. Just have a look to the outcomes by the students. I asked them to vote, okay, for each stimuli, for each stimuli, the level of, here I just put the images, but for the 3D, they had to vote, the level of honesty of the 3D CEO and of the 3D secretary, the level of honesty of the image of the CEO, image of the secretary, and so on. Okay, look at the video. Okay, what you have for the video? You have that the secretary is perceived as more honest than a CEO. But this is also a stereotype. Okay, why a secretary should be, and we have also another stereotype, the gender, because we have the gender stereotype, but we are not now interested in that. Okay, there are other stereotypes that can emerge instead of the sole gender. What about the competence? Again, we basically are still acquiring data on that. By the way, we found that the video and the 3D are the most biased. The text is sometimes less biased than video or 3D models. Here, the level of competence. Look at the level of kindness. Maybe the appearance, okay, it's, I don't know, it's, maybe I should ask the students why they think that, this CEO is less kind than this one, but, that is the impression that they have. The dominance, okay, the level of dominance. So the CEO is more dominant than the secretary. And of course, I will not show you the other results. Okay. Yeah, we can skip this. By the way, if you want to inspect, you can do it on your own. You can just use ChatGPT and Gemini to inspect more about the secretary and the CEO paradigm. You can just ask, for example, ChatGPT to write a description of a secretary, okay, without specifying the gender of the secretary. But most of the times you will find that the secretary will be a female, okay, a kind female. The CEO will be always a rude and a strict man. Okay, so if you want, you can do it. You will find that there will be also other stereotypes. In this last part, what I wanted to highlight is that, okay, because in the previous part, we were just focusing on the, on the dichotomy between male and female outcomes, or about, Caucasian, Asian, or Black people, and so on, okay? But those are not the sole stereotype that we should respect. There are many other stereotypes which are more linked to other, let's say, other topics like dominance, like kindness and so on, competence. Okay, just let me drive the conclusion. I want to stress that in this kind of studies, or in all the studies that are somehow linked to AI, to generative AI, the sole computer science approach is not efficient, because since we are using in communication generative AI, okay, we should be aware also about the other two biases, which are biases which are linked to our human thoughts somehow. Yeah, basically that's it. So let's say this synergy between computer scientists and expert in human study can truly help to improve, let's say, well, first of all, the outcomes, because if I'm able to generate widespread content, so content that are not just linked to let's say stereotype, it's better, because in that case, I can also highlight some limits of AI, okay, and try to solve them. But we should be aware also about this kind of outcome. I want to stress also, and then I will stop, that well, so far we cannot do anything about this, because it's really hard to solve this form of bias. But what we can do is to train people how to, let's say, interpret these results. So I guess it's somehow our mission. So that's it. I would have that's it. There are the slides. Yes. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, we have a minute for make some question to Pasquale. Probably, thank you so much, because this presentation is powerful, plenty of ideas, of question. We need to.
I'm not able to give you answers, so that's
I know, but probably you have a lot of ideas, and you have a lot of experience about how to deal with the artificial intelligence, not only in the technical aspect, but also in the practical. And the floor is open for your question. You have any question? And well, I have one. Yeah. It's related with the research, the previous research that you have. Yeah, this one. Probably one of the more difficult things to make this kind of research is related with how isolate the variable that you are studying.
Yeah.
Because my first question is related, if you ask for the participant after the experiment, for example, why are the reasons that move them to sell it, for example, in the different kind of media?
Okay, to be honest, this is a lot of this research, because I didn't, that was the last lesson of I had this idea, and okay, that's right. I guess that this is a very powerful, but it needs to be more structured, because there are no works about that, because we are working on a multimodal approach, which is not, you don't have anything about that in the literature, and you don't have anything in the literature that is explaining this kind of. No, I didn't ask you. I have to do that in order, to analyze better the results. This is just the first trial that just to highlight some drawbacks, just to motivate me in order to have more more structured research. This is let's say a pilot study. One thing that I was also thinking that it should be somehow inspected. I was talking to Alex this morning. We are now. Yesterday I was counting how many forms of AI I'm using in my daily life. Okay, and I'm using at least 3 different forms of AIs. So AI that generate images. Okay. AI that generate text, and also LM notebook. It is interesting because we are going through think that it is part. So there are more research that are talking, that are telling, I don't know, that are inspecting the role of different forms of AI. Just because if you take the papers, everyone is focusing on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So how a user relates to ChatGPT, or how a user relates to Gemini, or how he relates to, I don't know, Grok and so on. But no papers are focusing on, okay, yeah, more than one. And this is interesting because, for example, sometimes when I have some doubts about the stuff that ChatGPT is telling, okay, I take the document and I use, for example, LN Notebook, which is more structured. So sometimes if LN Notebook confirms the outcome of ChatGPT, in that case, okay, maybe. But I'm trusting, I'm asking, and that's the reason why I was also, I showed you the video of the crowd that was telling the user. That is another part of research that should be expected.
No, yeah, I think that it's for research. It's so important for the doctoral student because I think that we are now in the beginning of this kind of research.
Yeah.
Probably one of the challenges in the new research are how to create a methodological fundamentation of what is the variable that really have power influence and how we perceive receive information and how we are reproducing our respect is the right in the image or in the videos, or how the image are creating this system. I think that is what we are seeing a study with complementary focus in how to apply different tools to understand this. It's so important because we are in a starting moment for how we are shaping the public opinion. Because one of the important things is how these tools are creating a world that don't exist more than how the artificial intelligence can create universities.
These are good project proposals.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
everyone for giving me space.
Stay here.
Thank you for giving me space.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.